maybe this flower is just a problem. What is it about?
The flower is there for decor.
Okay.
On the camera, it looks nice.
Hey, but we want our water, you guys. Okay. Down here, but now they've mixed all of them.
Very good afternoon to you all, and welcome to the ABSA Wealthwise series, where we have wonderful conversations around building a legacy that lasts. And we're talking why your wealth story matters. As you know, we grow old. Everyone wants to have a lasting legacy. What does that mean? What does that look like? Are you actually able to have a legacy that will outlive your savings? Lots of questions that we want to be able to answer and ask, that you also want to ask and will be able to answer as we have a wonderful conversation. My name is Ben Mwine, and I'm excited and delighted to be having a conversation that is close to my heart. I'm now turning 46 years old, and as you can imagine, my circles are a bunch of men now who are beginning to think, what have we done with our lives? Have we made it? Have we failed? Where have we left things behind? What do we need to do? How much time do we have to fix it if we need to? And so for me, this is a very, very personal conversation, and one that I am extremely honored to be moderating as we talk about a legacy, what it is. Is it money? Is it more than money? Black tax, among other things. Does that contribute to your legacy? Do you ignore that? Again, whatever things you might want to think about in that direction, we're going to talk about today. And I'm joined by two very special people to share their insights on this conversation. I'll start by introducing Nicholas Lutakome, who is the CEO of CIC Insurance Uganda. He's a seasoned expert in risk and wealth protection strategies. He's been doing this for almost 20 years, so he has the right to be able to speak into these things very well. Some very good insights that he has also as someone who's managed high net worth individuals for a very long time, and is able to speak into how they can use insurance to secure your estate, manage succession. We know how big that story has been. We know some very big stories about succession management or lack of, and the impact that it has on families and the impact it has on legacies as well. So today he's joining us to be able to share some practical approaches that you might need to pay attention to transform wealth, build and transform wealth into meaningful multi-generational impact. Nicholas, good to see you. Welcome to the Wealth Series. Good to see you.
Thank you, Ben.
Also joined by Josephine Mutabuza Hakiza, which is the most important name.
Important.
That's the legacy name. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. She's the head of bank assurance here at ABSA Bank. She leads the development of integrated banking and insurance solutions. She also has a lot of expertise in financial protection and legacy planning, and she's been instrumental in shaping the offerings that also help high net worth individuals to preserve wealth, to be able to manage healthcare risks, and plan for generational impact as well. And she'll be talking a little bit about what ABSA is doing, but also specifically ABSA Bank Assurance, because that's a whole conversation that she'll tell us a little bit about, and how that can empower your legacy to outlive your savings. Good to see you, Mrs. Hakiza.
Thank you very much, Ben, and thank you all for joining us this afternoon.
So looking forward to what should be a wonderful conversation. As we start, I need to ask both of you, this is a conversation that has been happening in my circles. I think I mentioned that before we started, that at my age now, you start thinking, okay, midlife has hit. What has my life amounted to so far? What's the point? How do you measure that? So if you're to define what legacy is from your perspective, Nicholas, what does that word mean to you? What is legacy?
So the word legacy for me, I would simply define it with what ABSA gives us. The story, your life story, does not necessarily have to mean how much you have on the bank account or how much you've achieved, but what people speak when you're not there about you. I think that's how I would simply take it.
I thank you for a very politically correct answer. But, Josephine, let's be honest. People are not going to talk about you if you died broke.
No, true. You have a point. I agree totally. So for me, I think legacy is normally seen as property that you leave behind, the money that you leave behind for the people, that your dependents and your heirs. And that's important. We can't ignore it. So legacy, we need to build legacy and build wealth and protect it and preserve it for those that we leave behind. And also, more importantly, it's the values that you leave for your children and for the generations to come. If that is carried on by your children, then for sure you've left a strong legacy behind. So
Yeah.
for me, that's what's key when you speak, or what to think about when you speak legacy.
I think mine is a bit of a combination of both of yours because, again, like I said, it's a discussion we've been having in my circles for a while now. And I think the fact that we're talking about why your story matters for me speaks into legacy. It's very difficult for people to talk about you if you left nothing.
Indeed.
And even if you're going to leave values and stuff, what you want to talk about, what you taught your children and all of that, it's going to be difficult for you to do that if you didn't take them to decent schools, if you didn't leave a small patch of land for them to be able to use after that. And I think it becomes very important that also, if you're going to take care of your community, because usually we'll say that man was a good man, and the definition of good man normally will be because he hosted people at his home all the time. He attended all the weddings. He went to all the burials, which usually will require money, even especially as you grow older, which becomes a big thing. And so, you know that we have people who are following us who maybe are much younger than we are. I usually like talking to people who are 30 and below because their story is the one that has a lot more runway to be shaped. But then you have those who are maybe even slightly above us. They are now hitting retirement, have been able to save enough with ABSA, and they have some money put away, and then what they begin to do with that after now they sort of transition out of proper 8 to 5 jobs or things like that. So starting with you, Nicholas, if you give us some thoughts in terms of how you've shaped yourself to think, one, with CIC and what you're doing, but also plugging into this whole idea of legacy, outliving your savings. What are the key things that stand out for you that you think people need to pay attention to?
Thanks, Ben. So from a perspective of what my background is, it's looking at life as more or less a double-edged sword. So at every stage of your life, you're faced with a different set of challenges. The challenges you had at 28 change somehow when you're 42, and definitely will change when you're 55. But then you have to foresee that if you listen or if you accept advice from out. So when you're younger, you're normally free-floating. The only problem you have is being under the control of someone closer. When you're starting up in life, starting a family and all that, you are a risk not only to yourself, but those you're responsible for.
Yeah.
So
But you're not just managing risk, but you yourself are a risk.
Yes.
That's
because
interesting.
the whole thing of these children don't ask you to bring them into the world.
Yeah.
You need to take care of yourself and take care of them. And you need to assume you're going to be there until they can fend for themselves. And what you do to that is beyond what your personal abilities can do. You can have a job, you can have a business, you can have everything, but those things are running because you're breathing. What happens if you're not there? What happens after 10 years? Sometimes when we have a discussion about these financial plans for 5, 10, 8 years, people are always saying that's a long time. The question is, what is a long time? Sometimes I was having a conversation with someone yesterday and said, we did that 5 years ago. What 5 years ago meant was 2017 because the COVID years were not counted. So the whole thing is 5 years or 7 years run so fast. And when you say this is a long time, what have you done in the long time behind?
Oh dear.
You get. So always when you're looking at 8 years as a long time ahead, look at where were you 8 years and where have you reached according to the resolutions you are discussing casually.
That was yesterday.
Yes.
8 years ago was literally yesterday.
If you discount COVID, it's like yesterday.
Even COVID was yesterday, and that's been 5 years.
Yeah. So the whole story of at that stage you're responsible for people, preparing them for the world.
Yeah.
They get up, they go out in the world, and you are not necessarily lending them money. Yeah. You are fulfilling your obligation because you brought them into the world. And as an upright member in society, you're building a legacy. The legacy is reflected through those people you're bringing up and how you've prepared them and what you've done for them. Yeah. Historically, especially in this country, we have this thing of I've paid school fees for my children, they will take care of me. That is not going to happen going forward because they might actually rely on you even when they are up there. Because one of the things that we've set ourselves up for in that peer pressure is if your colleague is 60 and they're having a giveaway for their daughter, you want to do a bigger one. But your daughter is not going to finance it. You have to finance it.
Yeah.
You get so society will work on you. So what you're facing at 60 now is a totally different set of problems from what you had at 42, at 28. So remember, now time is going to come when you can no longer work, you can no longer move, and now you have a totally different risk, which is the possibility of living longer than your income. Some people don't think about it.
And yet our life expectancy is increasing now, so chances of you living longer than your income are now much, much higher.
Oh, yeah.
But also you mentioned something there that I wanted to pick up, from you. The thing of people thinking I paid your school fees, so you're going to take care of me. On average these days, because of the sort of things that we do, almost on a daily basis, you have phone calls from people saying, Ben, my son is here. No, actually, usually they say, Ben, your son, because now that has become my child as well, in a sense, right? Say your son is here, can you find something for them to do? The number of people who have to try and find now things for their children to do is increasing a lot more. So the idea of your children being your retirement plan is completely dying out.
It's a very insecure insurance policy.
That becomes an issue. But and then again, so from your perspective, just to bring you into the conversation here, this is a conversation that then has to be a little bit about purpose as much as it is about profit. And these are the things that you deal with at the bank, right?
Yes, indeed. And I think Nicholas totally put it right. But the next generation is not going to look after us. Okay, so we need to prepare for the future, not just for ourselves, not for our retirement, but be intentional to put aside sufficient money or sufficient resources to take care of yourself after your most productive life, which will probably be 50, 55 years. So indeed the question you start asking yourself at 46 is, what do I have? What have I intentionally done in the last, since I started working, 28? 27? What have I done? If you've not done it,
21 for
21
me.
for you. You're lucky.
No, actually not, because again, the question you're asking, what have I done? And you don't want an honest answer from me for that, because it's
no, you've probably
it's
done
not
something.
No, Nicholas, let me tell you.
What you can show for it.
That's, thank you.
You've done a lot.
It's a very uncomfortable conversation, because one of the things that has, I think, become my legacy, if we're going to use that word in a sense, is that I am not shy to be honest about my stories and my drama, right? And so for me, I find that when you have this conversation, especially now people who are my age, who are beginning, settling into midlife and all of that, is that people get very uncomfortable when you start saying, but now Josephine, so what's up? What's the plan? What are we doing, right? But again, just to ask, so, it's a conversation that you can't run away from it, can you?
You cannot run away from that conversation. You need to have it. When you go to bed at night, spend 10 minutes thinking about it. And telling yourself, so what do I need to do if I have nothing to show for what I've done in the past? And it's not too late for those of us that are in midlife to even start, because we have insurance in place that can actually support you through that process. With just putting away a little bit at a time, the insurer can actually set away sufficient amount so that in the event anything happens, or if you live through the term, you can still retire with the peace of mind. So we need to think about, okay, how do I have a risk I'm dealing with right now. One, I could live too long and outlive. Actually,
it's interesting how living too long becomes a risk, right?
And it's supposed to be, a good thing. You want to see your children's children, right? But you can live too long, or you could die too soon, and your children don't have, school fees, or your family cannot move on without you. Or you could get into an accident, or you could get critically ill. And these are all risks that we don't know. For death, we are sure it's going to happen. What we don't know is when it will happen. So it's important that we plan for that. and start to put away something. The best time to do it is today.
Yeah.
Okay? It was yesterday, actually. Should have done it yesterday, but since you didn't do it yesterday.
20 years ago. But
20 years.
yeah,
So please ensure that after today's conversation, walk into an ABSA branch near you and talk to them about insurance. Talk to them about starting to plan for your future and for that of your life.
And Nick, this is what you do. When you talk about insurance, people usually don't think about it from their own perspective and the fact that they have to be the ones insuring themselves. It's not CIC insuring me. It is me insuring my future and where I'm going to go. And like just been said, best time was 20 years ago. That has passed. You are now here. And the assumption I'm thinking is that we're talking to people at the moment who have the ability to make a living, have an earning at some point. And I guess the conversation now for me, for both of you, becomes how easy or difficult is it to be able to do that? Do I need to be able to have a net salary of 35 million to be able to think about my retirement? How can you shape that for us, for someone who is watching this to understand that, look, I need to stop being stupid and stop stealing from myself, because I might become a risk to myself by living too long and having more life than money at the other end.
It's a very interesting one, because I think maybe the word insurance was misused in the past. Someone recently called it outsurance. But the whole thing is, it becomes very complicated planning later in life. You pay the price. I'll give an example. One of the things that consumes money from people, high net worth especially, in their later age, is medical bills.
Health. Yeah.
And this happens no matter how healthy you are, things will catch up with you.
The bones will begin to crack.
Yes. The question is, if you're counting on that building you put up somewhere to pay for your medical bill in the UK, or if let's say Nairobi, you're killing your legacy. Because then your kids will pass there and saying that used to be ours.
Oh dear.
However, you don't wake up at 65 and you want to buy an insurance policy. It starts in your later years, because you're building a medical ID. Where we are going in the era of AI, it's going to be easier to use that history to rate you and give you assurance of coverage up to 80, 85.
Oh, wow.
It is not going to be easy for you to join at 65 and you have that assurance. You could be excluded. But if you have your track record within the system, it is much easier. If you have banks collect too much data, insurance companies collect too much data, if that is synchronized, it makes life much easier for you to preserve your legacy, because you're not dedicating 60% of your retirement income to medical bills.
Right.
So the whole thing about, you can live longer than expected.
Hopefully.
Yes. The question is, what are you doing to your legacy when you're living longer than expected? Are you depleting everything? Are your children taking loans to fly you out of the country? You have a duty, just like you looked after them in school, to save them from that in what you do in your younger years.
And also to actually look after yourself, because at the end of the day, you've got to be thinking about what you're doing as well. Maybe just when you can speak a little bit into this. And it seems to be a disease and a syndrome that we have. And I know that at ABSA you've got some thinking and solutions around how to fix that. This cancer of thinking, I want to get stuff now, and how badly it then affects your story and your legacy a few years down the road.
And I think Nicholas hit the nail on the head when he said we use our legacy or the wealth that we have built, we erode it because now we're paying for medical bills. And yet we have medical insurance. I mean, if you walk into any ABSA branch today, and I keep saying it is actually simple for you to start this conversation. You're not too old to start the conversation. 65, indeed, may be too late. And like I said, start now. So walk into that ABSA branch today. We have great medical insurance cover that will cover you up to 100 million shillings in inpatient. And, as we grow older, inpatient then becomes the most important thing that we have. Because if you're put into any high dependency ward today. You're not
Yeah.
going to spend anything below 2 million shillings
Yeah.
per day. Question is, who is paying it? Are we then now depleting our savings, or getting the children to get loans, or are we selling property, which you had actually put in place to pass on to your generation, to the next generation?
Yeah.
So please buy a medical insurance policy, okay? Then also go ahead. We also have good retirement plans as well. Plan for retirement. We are going to live long, right? No doubt about it.
Hopefully.
We are going to live long. I think right now the average Ugandan lives until 65, 70 years,
Yeah.
comfortably. Women even longer.
I remember that's average, you're including the infant mortality. So if you
Yeah.
think about it, really,
Yeah.
chances of you going up to 75, 80 are actually very high these days.
Very high these days, because
Yeah.
also the medical industry has improved.
Yeah.
You know, there's enough medicine to look after us in old age, and so let's prepare for that time. We
Yeah.
don't want to be begging our children and actually bringing them down because your children love you.
Do you think
So-
we choose to live in denial because, I think like Nicola said, 8 years ago was yesterday, and then you
Yeah.
blink, and then another 8 years have
Yeah.
gone, and then I'll be
you're 50.
54, and then another 8 years have gone, and I'm 60, and then I can't begin to imagine how difficult it is to be someone like me who spent my entire adult life working, to get to 65, and then I'm having to depend on handouts to be able to live.
Yeah, and remember,
How depressing
that's so
would that be?
depressing.
It's actually degrading.
Yeah.
Yes.
And remember, our parents had 10 children.
Yeah.
They could probably pull some resources together,
Right.
right?
Right.
Right now we have 2
Yeah.
or 1.
And you don't have to take care of them
And
because
you're only looking after them.
Because you didn't prepare.
Because you didn't
we did
prepare.
not prepare. Yeah, so I think really let's start to prepare. We have the institutions in place to support us.
Yeah.
And like I said, when you come to the insurer, you can give them, it's really up to you. You don't need 35 million to start,
Right.
okay? Come and sit down with us and let's see, where is your gap? Fine, you're working, you earn 10 million shillings,
Yeah.
but you have 4 children and a wife. What do you have in your disposable income?
Yeah.
You're contributing to NSSF. You probably have a side hustle.
Mm.
How much is that giving you? You probably have some savings. How can we now consolidate that? So this is the investment world. Invest that for you and also ensure that we protect it,
Yeah.
okay, through insurance.
I'd like for both of you to help me emphasize this point. Again, like I said, for me, it's a very personal conversation, because I'm at that point where I'm beginning to think, you know what, I don't have too much time in terms of my productive work life. If I stretch it to the limit, maybe 10 years,
Yeah.
but even that's a stretch. Again, like Nicola said, we're in an age of AI now, the space in which most of us are. You're going to struggle to be productive until that time. We're a very young country. Every year, I see a 23, 24-year-old who is more intelligent than I am, who is more brilliant than I am, who has more energy than I am, and who will probably be willing to do what I do for a third of what I'm paid at the moment. So the truth of the matter is, it won't be long before people are thinking, but why are we struggling with Ben when, right?
Yeah.
When there's
When there's Ben Jr. who can be able to do this. So starting with Nicholas, again, before we talk about the actual practical solutions and products that you have that people need to pay attention to, I want you guys to help me drum this point home that, one, ignorance cannot be an excuse, laziness cannot be an excuse, and living in denial cannot be an excuse. Based on the people that you interact with, how much of a problem do you see where people have somehow put it at the back of their mind, say, you know what, tujira tulindako, just we will get to it eventually. Because you're always in touch with these guys as CIC, as ABSA, and they keep sort of deflecting, saying, let's talk in 2 months. One of the things I hear people say a lot in this conversation is, I'm still a bit busy. Let's talk maybe in 6 months' time, or I still have too many obligations at the moment, so I'm not in a position to start thinking about this. Give me 6 months. You don't have 6 months, do you? If you can't start doing it now.
It's a sad story, but I always experience this. You know, the other day I was at a club, where I got to in the evening, and I have this colleague of mine, and we meet there very often. So one of those days, I think it was May, He said, Nicholas, we need to talk. So I said, fine, I'm here. So he went.
Yeah.
And then, for some reason, we disappeared without talking.
Right.
And he sees me after 3 weeks and said, that day I told you we needed to talk. Yes.
Yeah.
I needed to get insurance for my car. I just bought it. And that same day, I got a terrible accident.
Oh, no.
And this machine is European. I don't even have the money for the parts.
Look at the
But
pain in
you know, the thing was,
I'm a
like,
car guy, so
you know, it was like, it's like you insurance guys are witches. When we avoid you, the problems come. When we are with you,
yeah.
something doesn't seem to happen. It's not like that. The thing is, it's all about someone being deliberate. That if I need to do this, it's just a phone call away.
Yeah.
And the price of a delayed decision can be so heavy that even when you realize you're late,
Yeah.
it is not too late to start.
From the way you're describing your friend, that sounds pretty much like an 100 million shilling loss at bare minimum.
Yeah, it's in the range of, we are not even talking about 80 million.
Yeah.
You're probably talking about 15,000 pounds
Yeah.
for something.
That's about,
Yeah.
you're talking
Before
almost
taxes.
100 million. Yeah,
Yeah,
100
so-
million.
Yeah, so
And
That's
that's
a
just
huge
gone.
saving.
And that's just gone down the drain.
That's a
The
huge
thing you talked about, how people think that you insurance guys are witches. It's not that easy. It's just that statistically speaking,
Yeah.
it's called an accident for a reason.
It's
You
going
you
to
just don't know
happen
when
you
that might happen. You
Yeah.
don't know when you might fall sick. You
Yeah.
that's why sometimes
you don't know, right?
I tell people you don't earn a right to sleep at night if you have not insured.
How?
Starting with your life.
I think you
you
need to
sleep with one eye open.
You need to repeat that. You don't have.
A right to sleep at night.
Yeah.
Because you're your own insurer. So why do you close both eyes?
Yeah.
You
have
to
to
guard the
keep
house and the
looking
children
at
and
it,
the wife.
You've got kids.
Yeah.
How much of an injustice is it for you not to take this conversation seriously if you then have to end up in a position where your kids now are going to struggle all of their lives simply because you didn't make the right decision at the right time?
Be honest, I think it's just selfish. It's selfish, it is bad manners, and it is wrong by all standards. Don't bring children to the world and ignore them.
Yeah.
Plan for them, okay? So I think, Nicholas, when he talked about being in the bar, I remembered, how much money Ugandans spend in the bar. On an average in a month, we all have a budget for enjoying life. But I
Which
don't
you
know-
should have.
Which you should have. I mean, you
Right.
must enjoy your money, no doubt about it. But please, check it against how much you're planning, you're putting aside to grow your wealth and to protect your wealth,
Yeah.
okay? If you don't have any wealth, then how are you starting to build that wealth?
Yeah.
While you're having that beer and saying round,
For the guys.
Baba way.
Baba way, right?
Yeah.
How much have you put aside, for the next generation and for yourself as you live too long
Yeah.
for the next generation?
So-
So you're spending between 500,000, say to 2 million shillings.
Right.
That could give you over 500 million in insurance benefits.
I'm sorry, what?
That money could give you over 500 million insurance benefits.
That's a
over
lot
the
of-
period that you're drinking that alcohol.
And if you're younger,
It
then
even-
that number
it
becomes
even gets
exponentially bigger, right?
Exactly.
So, in case you've just joined us, the ABSA Wealthwise series, I'm with Nicholas Utakome, Josephine Hakiza. My name is Ben Winnie, and we're having a wonderful conversation around your legacy and whether it will outlive your savings, because your story matters. And we want to hear from you. If you have any questions, you can be able to get in touch through the socials. You can tag me at Ben Winnie, tag ABSA, and ask any questions that you might have. We'll try and go through those, but also to try and shed some light on why it's important that you do not bury your head in the sand and keep thinking things are going to be okay. I remember 6 years, going on 6 years ago, I was telling a couple of friends how, things can flip, right? The job I had at the time was a really good job, really well paying. And then overnight, on a Friday, you get an email saying, all right, guys, it's been real. We're shutting this thing down. So
Ooh.
bye-bye,
Yeah, that happened. Look,
right? And then in about 5 months from there, the company that my wife was working with, Friday evening, sends an email saying, hey, it's been real. Thank you. Goodbye.
What? Yeah, And that's real life.
This is real life. I'm not the only one. I know there's a whole bunch of people right now who might be in good positions, and I want both of you to speak into this, especially for people right now who have the blessing of having some money. You have a decent job, you've got a business that's working. That's never a guarantee, is it? That it's going to be there forever, Nicholas. If you don't take advantage of what you have now to try and, we keep talking about, putting something away for the rainy day. We're horrible at doing that as Ugandans.
And if you live in Uganda, you know that rainy days surely come. Because it's
That's
definite.
true.
You're not
It's
in Sudan
inevitable.
or somewhere.
Yeah.
You're in Uganda. So the whole piece of that is, you talk about a job, a good position. It could be a business. It's booming.
Yeah.
The question is, there are too many macroeconomic features that could disrupt you out of existence, no matter how smart or hardworking you are.
Yeah.
And if you get so comfortable where you are, or in what you've invested in isolation, some just a simple policy, taxation or something like that, can wipe out your net worth if it is
We know stories, don't
yes,
we?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So your legacy, the story matters.
Yeah.
Is the story in simple terms? It will be that guy used to be there.
Yeah.
And then he's here. I mean, there's a song where someone says, you're going to be used as a case study
Yeah.
in everyone who is explaining a product. How do you avoid that? You don't want to be used as a case study.
Yeah.
For someone to say, avoid what he did.
See that Nicholas guy? That guy used to be a big boss. He was the CEO of CIC.
I never imagined he would sit in a taxi. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
We can laugh about this, Josephine, but it's not funny, is it?
No, not at all. I think we need to take protecting ourselves very seriously. And I just wanted to share with you what happens at ABSA. So if you open an account, an affluent account with ABSA Bank, you automatically have an income protection cover.
Right. What does that mean in simple English?
Okay, so as soon as you open an account, we give you a free life insurance worth 25 million shillings. So in the event that you pass away, that 25 million shillings goes to your family. Okay?
Oh, wow.
We also give you a funeral benefit of up to 5 million shillings. So it's actually a definite 5 million shillings. That is given directly to your family to help you with funeral arrangements.
Yeah.
And you talked about losing a job. Now, in the event that you lose a job, we also pay you up to 10 million shillings for up to 3 months. Just allow you to reorganize yourself.
Yeah.
So you can imagine you don't have a job, you were used to earning 35 million, now all of a sudden it's monthly, and it is addictive. Huh?
It is.
If it doesn't come in, it becomes really hard. So if somebody can give you 3 months salary, 10 million shillings in your pocket, to prepare yourself and reorganize yourself, and at least you can take care of feeding your family, paying school fees. Making sure your kids are in that international school and they have stayed there that term.
Yeah.
And then you can start to them, guys, we need to reorganize ourselves, or you get the next job. I think.
And all that for opening an account?
Just open an account with ABSA, an affluent account with ABSA.
Do you have an RM available? Winnie, can you find me someone? Can we talk?
So just open your account, keep it up active, and for sure.
Yeah.
If you join the account before your 65th birthday, you're on cover until you're 85 years old. I don't know how many insurance policies give you cover until 85 years. Nicholas is here, he will tell us. They always tell you at 65.
The keyword is joining.
Joining before 65.
65th year, just join early, because, all of us have an account, right? All of us want to keep our money safe.
Yeah.
Just open the right account.
Yeah.
And you automatically have that 25 million, 5 million, and up to 10 million shillings in retrenchment cover, okay? Then build onto that, because it's never enough, right? You have bigger expenses. Then you come in and we'll be able to build for you a good plan based on now the gap that you have between what you're putting away in NSSF, what you've done in savings, what you've invested in your side hustle. How do we close that gap for you and work together to get you to where you want to go?
I wanted to actually ask a little bit about that, because I think one of the really important conversations that the people who should be interested in these products need to understand is having the ability of someone to walk the journey with them and give them counsel and advice. And so I'll come back to you to try and give us some insight into what you do as ABSA to help handhold people and walk that journey with them, because usually they'll mostly be ignorant about this stuff and don't know where to start or what to do. But from your side, Nicholas, what offer do you have that beats me getting the kind of cover that Josephine is offering from opening an account? What sort of products do you have available that help people prepare?
So the main reason why he's talking about that is because she has a partnership.
Yes.
So it's we
Yeah.
don't compete.
Yeah,
Yes,
We
we work
complement each
together.
other.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yes. So we work together to make it easier for the client.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then in terms of the different things that you want to be able to do, the insurance strategies that you have, especially for people, again, I think our conversation is especially geared to people who are making a decent living now. And it's shocking how many people make a decent salary, have a decent return on their business, and are squandering that money without even thinking about it because
That's true.
it's available, right? And so from an insurance perspective, what are some of the things that usually you advise people to look at? Maybe we can actually bring now the issue of succession planning and how you help people with being able to make sure that they are doing that well.
So for much of our decision making is informed by the market we are in and the conditions we are in. If there is something that has happened in Uganda in the recent few years, we've seen enough signals that things change. You know, COVID was a story that would have made everyone get health insurance.
Yeah.
And
And
it
yet,
passed, and it's business.
we
as
went
usual.
back to living in denial.
Beginning of the year, end of last year, we had government consolidating certain agencies and
Rationalization, they
Yeah.
called it. Yeah.
sending people home.
Yeah.
Then Trump happened.
Oh.
And
Oh, Trump happened.
when Josephine here is talking about loss of a job and opening an account, if you don't learn from that, there's something to think about. The other bit is certain things happen in society for a reason. There's a reason why your employer doesn't pay you a salary once a year
Yeah.
or half yearly, gives it you monthly. So you could go and get your midterm access in NSSF, and you everyone has a plan before the cash flow comes in. When it comes in, for some reason, you're not as brilliant as you were before. You need a partner to support you in that.
So
because
you're
the best,
shaking some
Tables.
tables.
the best you can do in your so many years of experience and knowledge is to manage your monthly income, not your lump sum of an annual income.
Yeah.
You will be broke
Yeah.
before the first month ends. So there's enough room for that to come in. So where we are going as in the market is making sure that we don't just sell you an insurance product.
Yeah.
We give you that knowledge and you make a choice. Well, you know, AI is coming in. It is here with us. We probably now will give people more incentives to insure younger for one reason. You could be comfortable with that medical card at your employer, but you know it has exclusions. Maybe you need to supplement it with a plan that is not so expensive, such that when you're out of that job, you have a medical ID separate that you would get a discount on the cover, because we've seen that happen. I don't know how many calls I get on a day when someone says, I want to insure my mother, I want to insure my father.
Yeah.
You know, I want to insure my father and
Yeah.
mother. The question is, it's the father and the mother who is supposed to make that call. So do you want your children to also call, saying they want
to insure you.
Exactly. So those are
Yeah.
things to think about now. It is never too late.
Yeah.
Much as there's a price to pay for making a decision late. When you delay, the consequences are dire.
Yeah. And again, so the issue of how important it is to engage early. Maybe we can actually talk about that first before I give an opportunity to talk about the financial advisory that you offer for your customers. Nicholas shared a story about his friend said, hey, we need to talk. And then 3 months later, he's hearing about how a person has lost 100 million shillings simply because they sort of put it off and said, I'll come back, to that. How critical does it become for you for people to sort of begin to see this thing as, this is important and it's urgent and I need to deal with it now. And after this webinar, I need to either call my RM or actually, walk into an ABSA branch and say, all right, let's talk. Where do I sign? What do I do that? Because again, we're speaking well. We're saying stuff that is relevant to people. It makes sense. And then many of them will forget about it. And then 2 months down the road, the stuff with, and then they remember like, oh, I wish I had paid more attention. Yeah.
So the earlier you join or the earlier you start your insurance policy, if you have 20 years, to start to build, the better. You obviously build so much more. You start talking about billions. You become a billionaire when you're 35. And it's very easy.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is putting off a little bit at a time. Nobody's saying, give me $1 billion, I invest it for you and show you how much it will make.
Yeah.
A lot of all the other investment instruments require for you to have a lump sum, and then, they put it aside for you and invest it and give you some return.
And there might be room for that in
And
other
there's
places,
also
but
room
for
yes.
the bulk of the people,
The lot of people don't have that much money.
Yeah.
A lot of us indeed get something monthly.
yeah.
And so on a monthly basis, what can you put away? And start as early, the first salary. As soon as you get your first salary. I always tell the people that I had my first policy insurance when I had my daughter. My daughter is now 15. So you can imagine.
You lucky woman.
Yeah. So I don't want to say too much, but
No, I think it's okay for you to say it so that people understand that. So what I'm hearing you say basically is you're saying you don't have to worry about your daughter's education because you took care of that when she was born.
exactly. And my daughter is only in grade 10 now. Okay.
Please note
And-
she said grade 10, not P.
P10.
No. I mean,
Yeah.
those
Plan.
differences are very important. That when you plan early enough,
Yes, you can
your
just talk
children
about
will say they are in
grades.
grades, not in
P
P.
and
Yes.
S.
Yeah.
And because you plan early, by the time my first policy matured, it was 10 years, because I was thinking, look, this young child is only 1 month old.
Yeah.
10 years, she'll be 10 years. In 10 years, she'll be in grade maybe 3 or 4, 5,
Right.
right? That's not even P7, right?
Yeah. That's about just P6 or
Yes.
thereabouts.
And
Yeah.
clearly, I want to leave and see her children.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully,
for
yeah.
me, 10 years is not a long time
Right.
at all. I'm willing to do 15-year plans, because if my last born is 9 years, they're going to university in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
So I need a 10-year policy for that 9-year-old. So at every time I had a child, I obviously opened up an insurance policy for them, just to ensure that when they are going to university, I have a buffer. Whether I have a job or not at that point.
They are catered for,
They are
and you
catered
don't
for.
have to worry about that.
Exactly. And God forbid God takes me in the middle.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm married, I have a spouse, we have 2 incomes. But
Yeah.
if I left, that income would leave a dent in the children's lives as well.
Yeah.
So it's important that we buffer up our spouses as well. And in this day and age, both the women and men are bringing something to the table, right? So it's important, don't insure just the man. Please insure the women, insure both of you must be insured.
Yeah.
So that when if any of you goes before the other,
Yeah.
there's a buffer, and that the children are catered for.
The thing that's hitting me really hard, Nicholas, is again the cost-benefit analysis, as we call that. If you're going to use complicated English, what you stand to lose or suffer compared to what you stand to benefit, and how much, or in this particular case, if you think about it, how little it will cost you to guarantee that. I find that people never think about insurance in that manner. You're the expert on this, so if you can just be able to shed some highlights on, if you look at the premiums that you're asking people to put away, for example, for a life policy, for an education policy, it's a little by little by little that in the long term, which we've agreed on is blink of an eye, the benefit is so much more that you have to be bewitched or out of your mind
Yeah.
not to take it seriously, right?
Yeah.
It's an issue of someone choosing to be excluded. So you're excluded from the people who have a planned life, because once something hits, you're going to reach a time when you're the only one who doesn't have that plan B, because most of your colleagues have embraced this,
Yeah.
and they are in and they have the plan. So the whole thing about staying out is what makes your life inferior to the rest, because there's a reason why insurance cost is called premium.
Yeah.
It gives you a premium life. What someone is telling you is others have substandard lives, yours is premium. If you have a car, as an example, and we all go to the bone and buy a car, simple car, 20 million, I think that would be a simple car.
I don't think you can afford the car of 20. These days, I think it's like 30 if you get
Okay.
anything
Yeah.
decent.
So let's say
Yeah.
30. So someone decides, for instance, to pay, instead of 30,
Yeah.
he decides to pay, let's say 5% more. 5% more to ensure that if that car gets a problem, he's not looking for money to fix the problem.
Not looking for another 30
He
million.
bought a premium car.
Yes.
So if the car can come in, because people have that, but how about the life?
Yeah.
You have a premium life because when you go to the hospital, you pull out a card, whereas another person first passes a basket around
Yeah.
to get this.
Yeah.
There's something we started at office, whereby we have this culture in Uganda where staff has lost someone, and you pass around a paper. It's a culture that is, you're creating obligations for people who planned.
Yeah.
So we banned that and pushed people into that collective because when you do the math, how much money do you contribute to funerals?
A lot.
The question is, have you ever thought about you and your colleagues all having a funeral plan, such that when this happens, it's just an issue of notify.
Wait, you can have a
Josephine,
collective plan as
yeah,
a...
as a group.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
It's that simple. And let's say you're having a.
Why don't we know these things?
Because you sometimes don't keep the right company. So right now you're on it. So if every person who loses a life or a relative or a child, you're contributing 100,000. How much 100,000 are you going to contribute in a year? And something as simple as 20K a year could safeguard you against that.
No, Nicholas. Wait.
Expenditure.
Let's be gentle here. 20K?
If you're ever on a WhatsApp group where they are blue ticking and soliciting money from Abugo,
Yeah.
you're in a wrong group. If they don't get the message that we can actually do this 20 or 50.
In
And
Luganda, they say, "Okubye nyo."
Yeah.
It's a simple thing. If we put 20,000 up, all of us up, and the only thing we are waiting for is 500, 1 million to be paid at every funeral, it has saved us from that. Let's put aside 20,000 for investment.
Allow me
Not for
to
burial.
take a very quick moment to speak to the breakfast boys. This is my boys. Next week, ABSA, we are opening
We have
an insurance policy for group for funeral, because
Yes.
we'll be talking about how we are now at that stage where people are beginning to
Starting
prepare
to drop
themselves. So guys, this is a non-negotiable. We're starting that. I want to take some questions. If you have any, please do share. Let us know if you have any questions. We'll pick those and pass them on to Nicholas and to Josephine to take care of those, even as we sort of begin now to think about what you need to do, action steps you need to take. Come into ABSA Bank, speak to an advisor, get some information on what you can be able to do. Take action now. If you don't hear anything else from all the English we've spoken here today, here's what I would say. Don't wait. You come. I know that you've already spent your July salary. So, yeah,
Start
what
with
date is it
August
today? Isn't it the 8th? We've already finished all the money. For August salary, can you decide that you're going to have a policy? It's a non-negotiable. If you need to talk to your spouse, you want to do that, because there'll never be another better time. Come sign the forms, get ready, because if you delay, then again you'll be another 6 months, and then you have these issues. So here's some questions for you, even as we wait for some more to come. This is coming in from Hanifa, who is following on LinkedIn, and she's asking about what you talked about in terms of having insurance that covers your job and all of that. If I have an insurance policy for life or education or any of those things, and my job goes, do I lose everything? How does that get handled?
Okay, and that's a very good question.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people indeed have bought these education plans for their children. So the good thing with the insurance policies, they give you a grace period. Okay, so you have up to 3 months to organize yourself without paying any premium, and you don't lose anything, because the important thing for you is to communicate to the insurer and say, look, I've lost my job. I will not be able to pay. I'm organizing myself. I think what is important is to know that this is an obligation for you to continue to pay if you're going to get the full amount that you planned for at the end of the term. Okay, but also this policy acquires a surrender value. Now we have policies in place that acquire surrender values 3 years. They've now gone down to 1 year. Some have gone down to immediate. Okay, so just ensure that you're having that conversation with your specialist or RM.
What does, for
so a surrender
plain English, surrender value, what does that mean?
It attains a cash value.
Right.
Like there's money on it. Okay, a lot of the policies we've seen in the past will say in the first 3 years there's no cash value
Yeah.
to this policy.
Right.
So if you stop paying in the first year, sorry, potea, no money. If you lose your job in the first year, potea. But
Yeah.
that, I mean, the
That's
industry has
changing
improved.
now.
That has changed.
Yeah.
Yes. And so what we've seen now is that in the first year you can actually get, but you have the grace period, to work with,
Yeah.
and then have the conversation with the insurer to say, okay, how can we now manage? Can we redebt?
Yeah.
Can you give me? So there's always options.
But also the idea
Have the
here being
conversation.
that it's going to be the exception as opposed to the norm for this to happen. So
indeed, that's the exception.
yeah.
Yes. The expectation is that you're going to get another job or get
Yeah.
another sort of income
Yeah.
and just keep this going. Because remember, it is your child. It is the dream that you wanted to achieve. Don't
Yeah.
forget the dream. Don't forget the purpose why you walked into the
Yeah.
ABSA Bank to open that.
Absolutely. Nicholas, whole life insurance. Emma is asking here, they're joining us on Teams, asking, can you speak a little bit about what whole life insurance is? What does that look like for them? Again, as you can imagine, I have a feeling that for a lot of people following the conversation here, they're hearing many things for the first time. They might have a vague idea, and the encouragement would be beyond the conversation today. Come,
Yes.
okay? Come to an ABSA branch, sit down and say, I want someone to talk me through what these insurance things are about and what they mean, right?
Yes, yes.
But in a quick overview, what whole life insurance would mean, what that looks like?
So whole life insurance is an option that is available for people who have fully joined in. For most of the people starting up, they are like, let me put one foot into the water to test the depth.
Yeah.
Whole life is all about putting both feet and leaving everything to happen. What this means in a nutshell is you join this plan and it will pay out at the point of death. Doesn't matter what age. And because death is certain, you dedicate a portion of your net worth into a plan. You don't pay premium throughout the period. You pay it for a specific period, but then the plan pays on death. When you're computing your net worth, it is part of the net worth. It's like having that land title that can't be sold.
Yeah.
And it can't be faked. It cannot be changed by policy. It pays out at the point of death. It's part of your estate. So when your children are counting on wealth,
Yeah.
or your grandchildren, it's part of what they do. Many people utilize that plan to beat the taxman.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because when you're having too much wealth and you die, being transferred is a taxation.
Yes,
I think that is something that is also coming to Uganda.
Yeah.
Insurance gives you that
Liquidity.
that waiver from taxation, because you could I'm not saying sell your piece of land and buy a whole life plan,
Yeah.
but diversify.
Have that option. And you
Yes.
just mentioned the word there that's very important. Liquidity.
Yes.
It doesn't make any sense for you to have 6 buildings,
Exactly.
and then when you have an emergency or a need or something like that,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah. So
you,
what?
you die because you could not convert cash.
You can't
Quickly
sell,
enough.
You can't sell one shop.
Yeah, it's not that you didn't have it, you just don't have the ability to be able to convert in time to get that done, right?
Yes. Yes. So when you buy a plan, just ensure that it's giving you both living benefits and death benefits.
And those are two different things, and you can have both.
You can
right?
have both.
Yeah.
Exactly. So your living benefits is that you have chosen to buy a 15-year plan, but you've lived until 15 years. You've not died in those 15 years.
Yeah.
So in the event that you live to that age or through the term, it gives you back a sum assured. Okay.
Yeah.
Some will be guaranteed.
Yeah.
Some will give you bonuses along the way, which they will declare to you every year.
Yeah.
Actually, putting that differently is make sure you buy one that looks after you and those who depend on you.
There you
I
go.
like that. I like that
Yes,
simplicity. So
yes.
have something that looks after you
And those.
and those that you look after.
Exactly.
This is your job to sell these products. You have no choice but to do it,
No, I haven't.
right?
Okay.
Technically, it's in your JD.
I
You must do this.
it, yes.
But because of the discussion we have had and what you just mentioned, I needed you to actually be able to help our people understand that this is not just for marketing and sales. 'Cause you are a customer.
I am a customer
Can
myself.
you share your experience for
Yes.
a few seconds about what
Okay.
what that's done for you, what it means, how much peace it gives you, and the comfort that comes with it?
Okay. Oh, okay. I think it's. Let me share where I started with insurance.
Yeah.
I joined insurance first of all when I got out of university by mistake. I didn't even know that, I walked into it. I was looking for a job like any other graduate.
Yeah.
And walked into an office, and it was a brokerage. I'd never heard about insurance before. No one teaches about insurance in the university.
Yeah.
And that is why I started to understand and appreciate insurance. And for me, I totally fell in love with what insurance has to offer. And so insurance didn't matter until I had my first child. And then I realized, oops, now this is getting really serious. I did not have much of an income either. I was young. And so the question you need to ask yourself is, how much can I put away today, and for how long? Because time is everything in insurance.
Right.
Okay?
Including sacrifice at some point. You might
Yes,
have
and
to
of course you
squeeze a
need to
little
make a
bit,
sacrifice,
right?
of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So the question is, okay, not even after my expenses, in my expenses, in my planning, my budgeting, how much do I put away to plan for my child for the next, when they're going to university, when they're going to high school,
I
or when
like
they're
that.
going.
When they're getting married.
When they're getting married,
Yeah.
all those things are important. So you need to start to think. I started to think about that then. So I remember my first policy was about 100,000 shillings.
Yeah.
Okay, but income grew all along the way, and I had more children. So obviously, the problems didn't get any smaller.
They never do. They never do.
Simply increase. So I mean, fortunately for me, because the income increased, I was also able to put away more and therefore build and try to close that gap. So if we started in P1 and now I wanted them to go into grade 5, I was able to live that dream. So we moved from P1 or nursery school, and now we're into, grade 5, which means we're paying a little more, because it gives you peace of mind that I've planned better, I was intentional, and I'm able to achieve this. And so now I'm just thinking, look, you have a little more, I have some other investments. How can I use that? If, say, for example, you have 500 million in investment, okay, maybe put away in a bond. What is it returning to you in a coupon every 6 months that you can put away some to increase that from 500 to 1 billion?
I love that.
Because if I use part of my coupon, maybe 20% of it, to then spend on insurance, which I'm just paying monthly. But the insurer is now putting away another 500 million for me. I am now 1 billion worth.
Because you're thinking,
I'm now a billionaire.
and because you're thinking long term. It's not about now. It's not about tomorrow. It's not about next year. Because, like you said, we are hopeful that we're going to live until you're 70, 75, and you're basically saying, I want to make sure that by the time I get to that point, I have financial security, which you're. No wonder you look so peaceful.
She doesn't look to cross the bridge when
No,
she's
but you're sorted. And, right? But let's be honest. It gives you a sort of, like you said,
a lot of peace.
you're able to sleep in peace at night.
Oh yeah, I don't have to stay with one eye open. I just go to my bed and sleep and know, if the Lord calls me.
Yeah. You have nothing to worry
I
about.
have left something.
I guess it goes without saying for you, Nicholas, that you have to be able to consume what you're selling as well. So I'm sure you're the master. You must have the biggest insurance package for yourself already lined now, right?
Most definitely. My story is not very different from Jose. Yeah, it's more of I got a baptism of fire.
Yeah.
My first year into insurance, I ran into this guy. I was sent, go and look at this client. This client was driving a van, Summit View Kololo. And for some reason, he lost control and ran into a fence. And the fence fell onto a BMW X5. And he couldn't run. You can't run in Kololo. So I didn't understand the policy very well. I was fresh. That was how I got to understand how that policy works.
Yeah.
Because to reconstruct that fence in Kololo is not as easy as reconstructing one in Charuajara.
In Chanja or Najera.
So to fix a car that has gotten a problem is not an easy thing, because this was a high-profile individual's residence.
Yeah.
And then that high-profile residence doesn't start a construction site. He needed alternative accommodation in a 5-star hotel.
While they build the wall.
Yes, and the approvals and all that. That's when I got to understand it's not just car insurance. It is the consequential losses that it causes. So I never had a car. I was using public means, but I thought to myself, I was like, I would never drive a car that's not insured. Not because it will be stolen or damaged, but because of what it can cause, the damage it can cause. Because at that time, you can take off and abandon your car.
Yeah.
Because it's the least of your worries. So it was a baptism of fire.
If there's only one thing that I have learned from listening to the both of you, is that insurance gives you peace.
For sure.
It gives you a right to sleep.
The right to sleep in peace.
Yeah.
One last question, Nicholas, you can handle this before we close. This is coming from Gloria, who's asking a question. And it's a very pertinent one because we talked about the cost of delaying your journey into insurance as opposed to the benefit of getting started now. And it's something that I have heard a lot and now pay a lot of attention to. That cost of going very late. And Gloria is asking how much it costs to be able to get life and medical cover for someone, for example, who is above 60. And how much more expensive it becomes than for someone who is starting at 46, for example, or even 30. If you can just, speak briefly into that, and then we'll wrap up.
So for the same level of cover, a 46-year-old might pay 1.2 million a year. And for the same level of cover, a 60-year-old will be paying about 3 times that, with so many exclusions and waiting periods because of the uncertainty that is surrounding the person.
And yet, if the 46-year-old has started, what does it become when they turn 60? Because they've started early enough.
Your life story matters. It's
Yes.
because there is continuity.
Yeah.
So you don't just land at 60. You are 46.
Yeah.
You paid 1.2 because of your experience. You got a discount somewhere. You continued because the data is available.
Yeah.
You continue with your level of cover and assurance because you have a track record. Without a track record, the bankers normally call it a credit rating. You don't have a credit rating.
We don't know you. We can't touch you, right?
Yeah, you're a risk.
You're a big liability to us
Exactly.
as
So
a
that's the implication. There's nothing wrong with being 60.
right.
But what is your life story in as far as medical insurance is concerned?
We're just saying if you don't start early enough, your legacy will definitely not outlive your savings.
To definitely struggle. And what's worse, when you come in at 60, we first take you through medicals. First understand what are you even, and then, like he said, then it will get loaded with additional premium. So you could be paying up to 7 million, depending on what you've picked up along the way. But if the insurer knows what they've been working with you, you have wellness covers, you're checking yourself every year, and then you have access to, living a good life, a premium life, like he calls it.
Yeah.
Then your premiums will not shoot up as much as someone who's just thinking, oops, the doctor just told me I'm at risk.
Yeah.
At 60, normally the doctor has told you that, my
It's
friend.
inevitable. You know it's coming.
Yes.
There's no running away from it. I think we just keep on living in denial, thinking that we are younger than we actually are.
Yeah.
Until you go to the bathroom at a hotel and then you walk out and then you discover that you hadn't finished what you were doing because you didn't know that you had reached that age. The men who are above 45 will know what I'm talking about. It's coming.
Yeah.
Henry,
Yeah.
Josephine, it's been an absolute delight to be with both of you on this wonderful conversation. And for those who are joining us online, I don't think there's much else to be said. Your legacy must be able to outlive your savings. Your story matters. If you hear nothing else, hear this. You need to earn the right to sleep in peace. And if you don't have insurance, you do not have that right, it's going to be a problem for you. So if I were you, I would find some time today, tomorrow. Don't delay it. Look for an ABSA branch. Come look for someone to have a conversation with you about starting this journey. Start now, because it will make all the difference in your lives. My name is Ben Winnie. Have a wonderful afternoon. God bless you. God bless Uganda.
Thank you.
What is your
Thank you.
Are we clear?